I'm John Marshall. I'm the Area Sales Manager, EDM South for NCMT.
Can you tell me a little bit about what is EDM?
EDM, it's a process that utilises electricity to machine anything conductive, whether it be on a wire erosion machine, which, as it says, it uses a wire electrode, or a die sink machine, which uses a solid electrode that is formed to the shape of the cavity you want to produce. We can machine very difficult components, extremely hard metals, and give you very precise finishes. Now, that's becoming more important, especially in the aerospace industry, where the materials that go into the engine are now becoming extremely hard, which makes it very difficult to broach or machine in a conventional manner.
So, where is sinker EDM best used then?
Sinker EDM can be utilised in a number of applications: mould tool, press tool, extrusion tool, aerospace. The beauty of it is you will get exactly what you've got on the electrode. So you manufacture an electrode to a shape, that will then erode into the component and produce a mirror of that shape in the component. For example, everything that's moulded generally has some EDM on it, whether it's actually the form or the feed or the runner. There's EDM die sink involved in that. The beauty of doing that also, it gives you a nice surface finish for your mould tool. Moulders generally don't go for a mirror finish unless it's a high precision part. They like to have a texture. EDM will produce that texture for you. There are other ways of producing that. You can use laser surface emulsion, but EDM is sort of the go-to choice for producing mould tool.
Tell me a little bit about yourself then. How did you get in?
Well, I got interested in engineering at an early age. My grandfather was an engineer. That raised my interest. I was very lucky to get an apprenticeship at a company in Tamworth. So I got into EDM at 16. Also at the time when it was still black arts. So you had to know how to twiddle the buttons, how to change the cables, and understand what's actually happening in the process, which gives you a really good grounding when you move on to more advanced EDM. So I worked there for a number of years. I was then approached and worked for a manufacturer as an applications manager. That raised my level quite considerably because of the amount of training that they insisted you had to really be an applications engineer. You need to understand the process, you need to understand exactly what happens during an EDM process. And that makes everything so much easier to actually produce a part. So that was quite a good grounding for me. I then worked or was connected to a company for 15 years, producing components and exotic materials. That again raised my level because aerospace materials are quite difficult to produce. So, you know, it gets you more of a broad understanding of what's going on in the EDM process and how to handle exotic materials because they're not simple, they're not easy. From there, I worked in a moulding company, which gave me the experience of die sink mould. Again, that gave me another string. So very nice, again, raising the level of what you can physically produce. From there, I went to another manufacturer as a die sink specialist in applications. Again, making sure that people use die sinkers correctly, and that's the important thing. And it's raising that knowledge, raising that ability. From there, I then joined NCMT and became the area sales manager.
So it's safe to say that, obviously, although you're in sales now, you've got a wealth of experience in the industry and in applications, so you know...
42 years. I've done a bit.
So why NCMT then?
It was quite an easy decision, actually. I was approached, asked to come in for a general chit-chat. I got on really well with the sales director, Ian, and seeing what NCMT was about and how they go about things, it made it quite an easy decision when you consider the quality of what we actually sell here. It was a very simple decision to make.
So following on from that then, what sets Makino apart from other machines in the EDM industry?
Makino, they don't compromise on anything. If it's needed, it's on the machine. It's not, we'll make this machine because we need to hit 100 grand. We make a machine because we need to hit a performance. And it's all about performance. Allowing the purchaser, the end user, to get a machine and actually produce exactly what they want. Not once, every single time you use the machine. And that's the beauty of the Makino, is that once you've got that process is fully repeatable. The quality of the machine, the build quality of the machine is second to none. It's as simple as that. If you take the covers off these machines, they're built like you wouldn't believe. Everything is included in the machine. The technology behind it makes it very easy to use. So you don't necessarily need to understand the dark arts of EDM. But that's what we're here for. That's what myself and Scott, we're ex-apps. We've done the apprenticeships, we've done the hard miles in the workshop. So it's not just about going out and selling a unit, it's about going into a company and selling the process and making sure that the process for that company is correct.
What advice would you give to the younger generation or people who haven't yet experienced EDM or want to go into the industry?
It's a roller coaster. The thing about EDM is people will say when you're trained you don't need to know the basics because the machine does it for you.
Yeah.
And that is correct. Understanding the basics of EDM, what happens when a spark generates, and that is 90% of the knowledge, because you can then anticipate difficult conditions, you can anticipate what's going to happen. The beauty of the Makino is, on board is then the technology to eradicate that issue. So if you are looking at going into EDM, really look into the technology of EDM. What is it? Because a lot of people don't actually know what happens at a spark.
Yeah.
It's the most important thing. It's as simple as that. It's the most important thing. And if you can appreciate that, you can then anticipate any issue, let the machine do the rest for you. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah.
You know, knowledge is everything in engineering. Ask questions. If somebody needs to give you advice, accept the advice. That's engineering. Simple as that. You take all the knowledge you can get, you remember that knowledge,
yeah,
and then you utilize the knowledge. Simple.